I remember probably about 7 years ago, no one ever wanted to run for the Board of Trustees in Gmf Falls. We had the same people over and over again. Now I'm happy to report that there are 7 people running for 3 seats on the Board of Trustees. I think that's the first time that has ever happened. And I'm very thankful for that people are stepping up. We have 2 people running for mayor. Again, that's really unheard of if you look back years ago. So we've come a long way here in our town. So it's exciting. So tonight we are drawing for the order in which our names will appear on the ballot. So, Renee.
Feel Gary. It's gonna help me. She didn't know it doesn't know So basically what I'm gonna be doing is writing down the names in the order that they're gonna appear on the ballot. When I do so, I will be emailing El Paso County and giving them the order in which they will be, okay? So I typed up everybody's name, and it's in a bowl, and you can't see. No. So. Okay. So we'll just see if it's mayoral or trustees who do this. Okay, Barbara Gardner. I'm not very good. Richard Lackman. You can move them if you want. It's like the Oscars. Now, there's no gold involved in this. Mayoral, Jane Newberry. Aaron Howell. Howell. I never know how to pronounce his name.
Cool.
Cole. Cameron Dorn. Tyler Stevens. Stuck together. Dick Bratton. David Perlman.
Sure. You know what that's all about.
Okay, so these will be emailed to the elections department in El Paso County. And this is how they will appear on the ballot.
Very good, thank you. The Trail Committee reappointments. Mr. Bratton. We have your email here, sir.
Right.
So Mr. Bratton is the committee is recommending Myrna Way to replace Mr. Jack Mountford. And then a reappointment of Dick Bratton, Greg Vander, Jane Smith, Richard Trisdale, and Gordon Lyons. Questions for Mr. Bratton? No? Okay, this time I'll entertain a motion to approve.
I move approval of the resignation.
I'll second that.
Any discussion, board? All those in favor, vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Mr. Brett, thank you so much for your work and all the work that the Trails Committee does for our town. It's wonderful. We had a great report in a newspaper recently about our trails. So, the Indy, I believe, Colorado Springs Indy. So, very good. Thank you. Item number C is the concerts by the lake, scheduled for June 15th to August 3rd. Someone here for the past Triangle Chamber? You, Mr. Bratton? Okay,
There are 2 annual concerts that the chamber sponsors, but all the work is done by Kevin and Martha Henry. They recruit the bands, negotiate a price, schedule them, fill out the park permit, and then feed the musicians after the concert. So they deserve all credit. The chamber is glad to sponsor these 2 events. They're in the evening. They're free, open to the public.
okay, board, there are 2 parts to this. We approve the special event information, the special event first, and then the second piece is discuss the fees associated with that. So at this time, I entertain a motion to approve the concerts by the lake for June 15th and August 3rd.
So moved.
Discussion, all those in favor, vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, so the second piece of this is the fee. So, in the past, does anyone remember what we did last year for this? Did we waive this fee? Do you remember? Everything. We did waive it. For the Triangle, they're part of our community, they do a lot of great work. It's a local thing here, that our guys, so. Okay. So I'll enter, any discussion on that? Okay, I'll entertain a motion to waive the fees for the chamber, for the concert by the lake. Second, or who's seconding? I can't second if I made a motion.
I'll second.
Okay, discussion, guys? Okay.
We have no fee, we're waiving the fee, or are we?
That's what the motion is. That's what the motion is. But we're in discussion, trustee Flynn, we want to discuss
Well,
this.
If I recall, we had charged them the appropriate amount and then reimbursed.
Make them
Once we donated the fee, rather than waiving fee.
Okay,
Is that anyone else's recollection?
I think that is.
Right.
So it sounds like each event is 1 hour and $100. So it would be $200 total.
Right.
Does that sound right?
Right,
Of which the board would
reimburse,
reimburse that cost as a gesture to Jim.
Typically you do a donation.
Donation rather.
a donation,
That way you still have to practice of collecting all your fees.
okay,
And you don't have to wait later on that and say, well, we could do that.
okay. So then I'll change my motion then to, collect the fee, the $200 fee, and then the town would donate that back.
I would move that.
Second.
Okay, any more discussion? All those in favor, vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Very good, thank you. Exciting stuff thinking about concerts by the way, that's great. Okay, Board of Trustee vacancy applicants. Okay, we received 2 applications for the Board of Trustees. I think both of those people are here tonight. We have Mr. Dick Blackman and Ms. Catherine Guthrie. So what we're gonna do here is I'll just call you up to the podium. You can talk a little bit about why you want to serve on the board, and then we can go from there. Okay, Mr. Lackman?
having been past mayor, having been past trustee several times, I know that the board works much, much nicer with having a full board. Gets away from having hung up votes, et cetera, et cetera. And I have the experience and I have the love for the town, so therefore I would like to fill that remaining time that's necessary.
Thank you. And Catherine.
Well, I guess I can just repeat what was on the application. I have served the town in past years as the chair of the Economic Sustainability Committee, which was something that the board created at the time. And that committee worked together very well. We were successful in bringing to the board several recommendations, including the fee schedule, a mill levy, and we also put together a grant workshop that eventually led to a grant that was a HUD grant for Sally Bush, so that the building is now open. They needed a lot of funds to comply with ADA standards. And I realize that this is a temporary vacancy, and I'm confident that I could attend all the meetings until the next election. It's a commitment that I am comfortable fulfilling this time. Thank you.
So, both of you do realize that the soonest you guys would be sworn in would be the 16th of February, which is that next meeting. And then from there, you would have 1, 2, 3 meetings to sit here before the new board is elected, because we will not be holding a board meeting on April 5th due to the election. So we will not be meeting. So you have 3 meetings. Should I talk in this, Mr. Bratton, so you can hear? Thank you.
I suggest you select tonight and swear in tonight so they can be immediately helpful to the board.
Okay. The board, we have discussion about this. Who's to go first?
I think I would lean towards Ms. Guthrie, just for the fact that Mr. Lackman is running. That's the only.
Give her the opportunity to see what it's like from sitting up here.
And just to take the counterpoint, if Mr. Lackman gives the voters a three-meeting audition before.
Okay.
So Mr. Lackman is running for the board. Catherine is not running for the board. So. And I'm gonna throw a third opinion out there, and that's if 3 meetings is really not a lot of time to do much of anything. So that's another thought process there, so. Any other comments? There were 6 months. Yeah. I know, it is hard.
Amen. When is he has to appoint to avoid a special election? Within how many days? 60, I think it's 60.
I would probably lean towards experience on the board with just 3 meetings. I don't see a conflict of interest with Mr. Lackman, even though he's running for the next position. So I would be, looking at that, even though I do like those countries' qualifications, certainly. But again, if this had been a longer period of time, that might have been more beneficial to us. So I would tend to lean towards experience.
think in the past we've done ballot. And do you know what our process is? I think we've done ballots in the past.
We did ballots years ago. The last time that we did this, it was legally brought forth that it had to be a public vote.
Thank you.
Oh, I think
Wonderful. Okay. So, are we ready to vote? Are we gonna vote, or do we need a
We'll
motion?
probably need a motion to appoint one of them. And I think that, I think it's a tough call. I think all 3 points that I've heard of each one of them. So I think it's gonna be, I think all 3 options are decent and viable for us moving forward. And it ultimately comes down to making it one with one.
I would move to appoint Ms. Guthrie as the replacement for the remaining part of Trustee Ellis's term.
Second,
Someone needs a second.
second,
Second.
okay, who's second? Trustee Quinn, okay. Any discussion on that? Okay, so at this time, I will all those in favor vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
No.
Okay, so at this time, we are going to vote for Ms. Guthrie.
Just did.
Oh, were you voting for that?
To
I thought we were voting.
restate the motion, I move to.
I mean, I thought we were gonna do a third step there, to do the,
Next is story.
okay,
Let me look at your town code to make sure that we don't force ourselves into a special election. Go back real quick.
Yeah.
And make sure that.
That followed suit with what happened with Margaret Peterson, myself, and Dave Cook when we came aboard. So it was a.
okay. We're gonna take a short little recess right now, just to make sure.
6.
Maybe jump to website feedback, which might not require adjourning.
Yeah, let's keep moving, you guys, and we'll come back to that, okay? Okay, the town clerk, well, let's move back, let's go down to the website feedback then, as Trustee Stevens said, which is G. Okay, the website is scheduled to go live on Thursday due to the snow. The county's been closed 2 days. So it's gonna go live on Thursday morning. So we do have some feedback here. Trustee Stevens, this is from you.
It is.
Okay, would you like to?
I just simply finally had an opportunity to put my thoughts down, reaction, and suggestion to add something. It's nothing that's show-stopping, but I think as we move forward, we might want to consider adding some of these things,
Okay.
such as frequently asked questions, additional information for directions on the message body where they contact us, links to things such as the fire department, Colorado Springs Utilities, school district, Black Hills Energy, El Paso County, separately affiliated agencies like PPCG, the RTA, RBD, etc. Hiking info and trails map that we are located or linked on there, and then also our planning commission's maps as PDFs, and then of course searchable phone code.
Would you hand him the microphone?
I don't think he.
We can't.
No, it's nothing substantive.
There's no deadline required that you appoint, but I would remind the board that as the agenda states, we have an executive session to discuss a matter subject to negotiations. So to keep that in mind, it may be difficult to bring someone up to speed on that.
Man, why does everybody whisper?
Yeah.
Please, we can't hear what you guys are saying, and we're sitting right here.
Sorry.
Okay.
So I've checked the town code.
Thanks.
It says that, once there's a vacancy declared, just that, the Board of Trustees may appoint someone for the, duration of the office, but it doesn't put a time period to do so. So I've reminded the board that, as the agenda states, that there's the potential for an executive session, as long as there's a 2/3 majority vote, regarding a matter that's subject to negotiation, that may make it difficult to bring a new person up to speed, but that's certainly not to say that that person's not bright enough to be brought up to speed, so.
I would recommend that we continue moving forward with tonight. If it takes us an extra 10, 15 minutes, so be it, to bring somebody up to speed. Yeah, go ahead and move forward with bringing somebody on board tonight.
I would second that.
All those in favor, vote by saying aye. Okay. Opposed?
we voting on?
Bringing
Moving
someone on board
Swearing in
tonight.
right now.
Swearing in right now.
Aye.
Okay. Fine, okay,
So any no's?
no nos.
No.
Okay. I would like to go back to the conversation we were having first with the website, and then we can revisit that for a second, because
That's a great idea. 'Cause
Yeah.
We have to get the,
you have to
swearing
get
in.
the swearing in.
So, you can keep moving forward with that. 'Cause
Yeah.
We don't do websites either.
So, you're gonna be welcomed up here, Catherine. There you go. There you go. So just hang on for a second. So these website recommendation feedbacks, it's really, the website's gonna launch the way it's launched right now. And these will be items that we can update and get going. And they're very good items, Trustee Stephen. So we're gonna be doing that. So, and I think Cameron Thorne, you did send some as well. I don't know if we got,
So Cameron's was about the, and I don't know if it's on the current edition to do the searchable town code. I know that was talked about early, and I don't know if this, but I do know that it's on the list.
so Cameron's,
As far as the .gov, I'm not familiar as much with that. So obviously there's .govs, there's .us, and in this case, but you're saying to readdress or redirect one to the other, is that?
Basically, yeah.
Okay.
and then we did get, yay, that's a nice one from, Nakia, someone who said the new website is significantly more interactive than the old current one. It's more inviting and easier to find specific documents. Money well spent. Yay. Always good to get those positive little things every once in a while. And then Cameron's again, this updated ordinance. And then the planning commission was working, I know, Cactus was very interested in getting the searchable code, and apparently he has the ability to do that. So he's a connection to go with that, to get the searchable code on there.
Well, I went ahead and took the code that is available on the latest site, converted the PDFs to searchable codes, and have this ready to be handed to whoever wants to put it online. But it only covers the code that was available on the website. The updates for all the amendments since then, or amendments or ordinances, has to be done. And I don't believe they exist anywhere other than in the clerk's document.
And while I like that, I like that as a second option if Cactus is able to get it in searchable instead of, if we convert it and there's any oopsies or it didn't, the OCR didn't work correctly, then we may not find it until it's too.
He was gonna do the same thing I did, so.
Well, and additionally, keep in mind that both the code that's listed on the website as PDF and in searchable items is for reference only, not actually for the legal code as it is. So if there is a discrepancy, it's what is housed with the town hall, not what is on the website. The website is an information source that gets you close, but if there's mistakes, and we probably need to make sure we document that on the website so that someone's not, if there is a mistake or some error that someone says, oh, look, this is what the code is. Well, no, that's wrong. Maybe errors.
Okay, another, yes. Karen.
Well, on the code question, as I put in my comments, the town's code publisher should be able to provide you this. You don't bother with the OCR stuff. Call your code publisher and say, can I have searchable PDFs? They should be able to provide that to you. I wouldn't hold up the launch for that. Just go ahead and do it later. The name, the .gov name suggestion, if you plan to take advantage of that, that's something I might consider holding a launch for. Why launch under one name and then change the name 2 weeks later? The county should know how to handle all that. They've probably done it before. So.
I think if we do adopt the .gov, it would be in addition to, because the current website is established and is pulling up search results, and I think it would point out.
You redirect.
They would know better the recommendation, but from my experience, that typically is what the website developers recommend. Don't abandon that, just redirect to it.
Okay, any other comments, questions? So it's gonna be exciting on Thursday, stay tuned to the new website. Yeah, that's good stuff. Okay. They're not back yet, guys, so,
We are.
oh, good. We're gonna need to get another chair in here too. So let's move down.
What's the name?
Catherine.
Catherine, you have to bring your own chair.
With a chisel?
And it's gonna be nice to have a. Obviously. I really want to fix this. Let's get this fixed. Do you have one of those saws? Oh, yeah. You can saw this off.
Madam Mayor?
Yeah.
The clerk's supposed to record the vote. We couldn't tell how many people voted yes and voted no on the motion. We could hardly hear the motion. We did get the essence. The vote to appoint Catherine Guthrie to the vacant seat was
5-1.
five.
One
What?
twin.
Thank you.
Okay, Catherine. Can I have an extra packet for her? Or some, so she can probably maybe share. Trustee Gardner, you can share. Trustee Guthrie, is that how you pronounce your last name?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm gonna raise your right hand. And we have any pictures, so we have a, yeah. Okay, so we have, wait, can someone take a picture of my phone so I can just? It's phone. I mean, it's a picture. Okay. So you're gonna repeat after me.
I, Catherine Guthrie,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
by the ever-living God
by the ever-living God
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and of the state of Colorado
and of the state of Colorado
and the ordinances of the town of Green Mountain Falls,
and the ordinances of the town of Green Mountain Falls,
and faithfully perform the duties
and faithfully perform the duties
of the office of trustee
of the office of trustee
upon which I'm about to enter.
upon which I'm about to enter.
So we need to just go ahead and print this right now. up to the table here.
Place too. Okay, welcome aboard.
Okay, so we're gonna move right along here with the town clerk backfill. So trustee Butts.
Good morning. Don't scare me like that. So I wanted to put a couple things out there is that we've had a couple months here, and Renee has stepped up tremendously. And she's had some help from Cindy with Calhoun, and I've given Renee some questions ahead of time. What are some of the things that you and Cindy, so just kind of bring us up to speed on what you and Cindy worked on.
Basically, Cindy helped me finish up the town budget so that it was turned in on time. She helped me with the highway users tax fund. And what we learned was that the town still has $15,000 coming its way from that fund. And so eventually you'll see that reflected in the numbers of your account summaries. She has also offered to come in and help with assist and to go through and help us to be ready for the audit. That will take place later this year. She would do that, she said it would take probably 2 days, and she would charge the town $500.
So that was one of the things that I wanted to, how much time has Cindy spent with us? Less than a week, isn't it? 4 or 5 days? 4 days?
About 4 days.
But Cindy knows assist. She knows it as well as anybody currently. But to finish up for 2015 has got to be closed out in assist. It's not getting switched over to QuickBooks for obvious reasons. So like you said, it's going to take a couple full days to do that, including the line by line. And earlier, Renee was showing me some of the reasons why it still needs to be self-audited, if you will, to do that. So I would like to recommend that we bring Cindy in for that time. I think $500 for 2 days is money well spent for that. So before we kind of move on, we want to make sure that y'all are on board with that.
That's certainly something. Additionally, I think that in the interim, I think that if Renee can identify some other projects that are capable of having an extra set of hands coming into the system, I would be very open to.
We can't hear a word you're saying, please.
So of that, once again, stage question, we were kind of coming up with a list of tasks, of repetitive tasks. Some are repetitive, some aren't. You want to share with us what you have learned this job entails?
So still learning, but a lot of the things that I'm aware of or have learned thus far entails taking care of gazebo rentals for weddings, calendaring, keeping track. Anything that comes in from the county, state, and DOLA, time-sensitive documentation that has to be sent back to them. Court takes anywhere from 4 to 5 days, depending on the issues or the defendants that we've been dealing with. The dog licenses, the business licenses, now the website, the minutes and agendas from both PC and Board of Trustee meetings, core requests that come in, just the general answering phones, dealing with public. The election stuff now has been an experience and learning different things about that. Entering and running bills, DMV records that have to be sent to the state. Getting ready for an audit for the financials, as well as CIRSA coming in and doing file audit. And then revenues, receiving and paying the bills, lodging, making sure everything's out in a timely fashion. So it's been kind of a crash course over 2 months.
So that was a 2 or 3 minutes. She and I were talking before the meeting, trying to jot that down. So I'm sure there's things that are missing. So all of that to kind of get into the timeline for backfilling the open position for clerk treasurer. So we've got a couple of things to think of. Is what does all of this entail? Is it one full-time job? Is it full-time, part-time? Is it 2 part-times? If we go to a town manager, so 2 part-timers for the town manager, a lot of different options. Options are pretty limitless. But as we look forward, there's some things that are going to be calming down. The election will be over April, and that I'm of the mindset, but I'm kind of wanting some feedback of starting with 2 part-time people and increasing as we need. We have part-time is Renee's been working right at a full-time level for us, which is great. So we know that it's a 40-hour-a-week job minimum, but we also don't know what we're missing. So it's 40 hours a week plus Cindy's come in and help, and it's been on the phone, being able to be a resource. So there's some training involved, but if we could start with 2 part-times and build up, it's a lot easier to build up than it is to go from full-time to part-time down the road. And as we decide on town manager, I don't know if we're deciding on that tonight. If we want to look at changing the way we do that, whether it's town, stay with liaisons, go to town manager, whatever, that may affect how the duties are doled out. So those are just my thoughts. So I wanted to open it up to what y'all are.
Have you put some numbers to that? It seems that suggestion would be already within the budget.
Which
Goes
with
to 2 part-time,
part-time?
having a part-time to hold currently, given that we're not paying a full-time clerk.
So do we have the money in the budget to go for 2 part-timers right now? Yes. What we have in the budget is a full-time and a part-time, and the benefits are such down the road that they wouldn't be affected. So yes.
Okay, any comments? Of anyone?
Well, I like that approach. I'm not sure how it all shake out, but I do believe that Renee needs help and probably a lot of less intensive activity. So I would suggest that we pursue another part-time to get in here and help. And then if we have some expertise that's needed, we always have resources through CML or what have you for those particular situations. I think there's probably a lot of tasks that take off your plate.
A lot of this isn't difficult, it's just very busy. It's very busy.
Well, there's no doubt you're very busy. And I think we should definitely get some assistance.
Again, we cannot hear you speaking, please.
So let me throw a wrench into my own suggestion, is we need somebody, and we've got 2 specific positions, clerk and treasurer, with judicial and election thrown in there in the mix. But 2 main, clerk and treasurer, segregation of duties. One that follows what the auditor talked about, but there's right now, Renee's kind of doing both, so we need somebody with one skill set or the other for complementary reasons, but we need to find out what your comfort level is and which one you prefer, and look for somebody to fill the other position for your background. So I don't know if you,
Do I have to decide
no,
that?
yeah. But it's an obvious thing that we've got two different skill sets that we're looking to fill.
Right.
And so,
And to further mess with that, there could be a town clerk and there could be a court clerk. You could have a clerk that is just handling the court docket and those kinds of things coming in temporarily. I'm not sure that it's required to overlap. Matt may have some suggestions as our town attorney, but it's just an idea so that you segregate all the judicial to one individual.
how much time, if you were to pull out judicial, what's your guess?
Right now, the moving piece of that puzzle is a large backlog of work to get done, such as state filings regarding disposition and things like that. So if you took that out, I don't know.
A day before, a day of court, a day after, so at least 3 days.
4 to be safe.
Okay. So at that point, yeah, you're.
Don't know if it's a good suggestion.
No,
It's just an idea.
I think it's a very.
Another idea, Trustee Stevens.
But I think once you identify skills that are needed, and see the pool of applicants, you could select the person that would better, as you said, complement things that you need in order for the offices to run.
So if everybody likes the idea of multiple part-times, whether it's 2 or 3, it becomes a time frame. So right now, Renee is the election person. She's the point of contact for the election officials. And I believe they've asked, are you my point of contact through the end? So she's it for now. She's it as far as anything 2015 is concerned on the treasurer side, getting all of that, because it wouldn't be fair to throw yet another person into that mix. Right now, you're it for judicial until maybe that's all that I was. An audit could fluctuate either way. Even a CIRSA audit could fluctuate either way. I don't know. So you've already gone through the town's already gone through the business and licenses for the year for the bulk. The second half of the so at that point, I guess it becomes a time frame of what makes a good time. Do we post it out there for now and see what we've got? Is there any reason to wait?
I think if we're just doing the part-time right now, I think getting it going and Ray and Renee somehow. I would say though, this is a big decision and we have 3 meetings. And I do believe this is going to be the first thing that the new board tackles when they sit right over here. And to rush in and make a decision, we'd be doing exactly what the old board did.
Well,
Making a decision right before an election.
But this isn't I think it's a needed decision.
Right,
So
well, the
if
part-time, no, but I'm talking like anything bigger than that, like a town manager, or
That's fair
you
enough.
go that route. I think we get Renee some help, post it, and get her some help, and,
All right, Matt, what were you gonna say?
What is the reluctance to hiring a certified clerk treasurer? I don't understand. There's certainly money in the budget to hire a qualified person. What is the reluctance to hiring that person, or at least looking for them?
Okay, so my reluctance is, my train of thought is, we hire a full-time person and decide that a full-time person either one is not needed or is not desired. that we would rather have multiple part-times like we were talking about. At that point, we've entered into an agreement with somebody and are gonna have to back off. It's easier to, in my mind, to increase and look for a full-time person
So
part-time.
your logic is that there's not enough work for one full-time one and a part-time?
I don't know what the, is it better utilization to have two part-timers if, with the segregation of duties? Is the question. I don't know the answer, which is the reason I'm trying not to jump to the
I
end.
think you're gonna have a very hard time trying to find a qualified individual or two that have those skills that are gonna be at the level that they need to be, unless you hire a certified clerk.
Well, I know that there was another option that we had talked about before, and that was even separating it further and just having a treasurer person. Something like an accountant type person sit.
But that would be the segregation of duties, one's treasurer, one's a clerk, so that's what we're talking about, the two part-time. I hear where you're coming from, Matt. So this is my idea, and I hear that you would rather have a full-timer, but
Yes.
my
Well, it's just,
question.
it doesn't seem to me that you're gonna have two people working part-time and they're always gonna be under the gun. Because
They don't always have to be,
Because
if
there's
they
plenty
need to
of
go.
work, there's plenty of work for a full-time and a part-time.
All right, so they won't always have to be under the gun. If a full-time is needed, there's nothing saying that we can't move from part-time to full-time if needed.
Gary.
So back to Lori's point about, is this a decision this board should make? If I counted correctly, the potential is that 4 of you will change. And should that not be deferred to the new board to make? And even if you started hiring process today, it's not gonna come into effect until essentially the new board.
Right.
And should that not be the new board's decision to find someone they can work with?
I like
I
what
guess
you
I'm
said,
saying-
but ideally it would be somebody that multiple boards could work with.
So my thought on that, Gary, is that there is, if we start the process now, then we're 6 to 8 months ahead of the curve. That if we go all the way through a interview process and everything, and we're not starting April the 5th, and we're looking at May.
I say you can solicit applications, but I think it's better served if, and I use this in the best of terms, Renee.
Yeah.
If we limp along with Renee until. And I mean that the kindest way.
The best one possible. It's more of a strut.
Sometimes it's not going much. Yes, Mr. Brett.
I'm a little disappointed there hasn't been more urgency to address the lack of man hours in our admin. Renee's worked terrifically hard. There are a lot of things that aren't getting done. If you'll think back when we had our former clerk was a full-time employee, she had almost full-time assistant. And in some cases, they ended up with a third person in the admin office to keep up with the workload. To me, the workload is even bigger now than those days. And I think you need to recognize you need to man up to take care of the workload. 2 part-time employees, to my mind, will not do the job. I believe your budget had 2 FTEs in admin, is that correct?
One
Or
FTE,
one and
one and a
one-
half.
One and one part-time. Okay, the other thing is, you should probably try to get the best, certified or not, town clerk experienced to be the town clerk and give them the benefits of a full-time employee. All the benefits, medical, insurance, whatever. Because that's how you get the best person. But offering a part-time job, you're not going to attract the same level, skill level, or experience level that we really need. I think you ought to think very carefully about, go get a good full-time employee and backfill with some 2, 3 part-time, maybe one's a certified court clerk. That would be nice. They just come in and take care of the court docket. That's a specific skill. Maybe a CPA, part-time, in your admin department that does nothing but finance, and then make your number one, your full-time clerk, a really experienced town clerk.
Okay. So board, I think we all agree that they need some help in here. Yeah, definitely. So where do we go with that? Getting a part-time person to come in and help, a temporary person. I did call Judy. I spoke with CML. They gave me a name to call. She's an assistant clerk out in Alamosa. And unfortunately, that did not work out. She said that everybody is busy right now because of the election. So there are no temporary seasoned clerks available at this time to come in, unfortunately. But I do think Renee needs to get some help, so where are you gonna go with this? Trustee?
I go more with the need for full-time. I just see that I don't want to take advantage of Renee. I think it can be done. We're our own worst enemies when we only meet 2 times a month in that way. I think we can expedite this. I think we should have something like this week advertised as full. I think it can be done with a limited time to look at. I understand the thing about having to backtrack or anything else, as far as that goes. But I'm more in favor of looking to see, number one, is there somebody certified out there? If we don't get that, then plan B is you find temporary help.
So that's my, so if, as a board, we want to go full-time route, then I think we push that to the new board and we get temporary help in here for the time being. We had it for the week that Mary was out, I believe, or vacation, whatever. But we get the help for what Renee talked about, as she read off her list, is none of it's hard, but it's the interruptions, the phone calls, things like that, that keep the task from getting completed. So if we got some help for that and allowed her to maintain the list that she had in front of her, with the exception of the phone calls, and got the job description ready for the new board to put out there and to, I don't think this board should hire a full-time person.
I don't think we should hire the full-time person, but I don't think there's any harm in, as suggested, to post the listing and solicit candidates to apply, and then we can evaluate at that time. If we find there are not of the pool of candidates, or should we not fill the position and go a different direction, should the board change and decide to do something in the future, we at least have gotten that process of saying, hey, we're interested at this point, and that's that exploration of what's available in the market. And then, of course, at the same time, I think it's vitally important that we get part-time temporary help in immediately for
Trustee Gregory?
I believe it said on my application that I think the number one issue is hiring a full-time certified clerk. And, let's get the process started. Interim help certainly sounds like a practical idea as well.
So get the process started, knowing that this will be an issue that the new board tackles when they take the seat, right? Mr. Bowman?
Yeah, I understand there's 3 new people coming on the board.
Four.
4. Okay,
3
you were
trustees, 1
elected
mayor.
to run as a board until the new board comes on. You should act as a board and continue with business, and then make it a seamless flaw over to the new board. So if you want to elect a new official, that would be fine. And that's a good way to go, I think. The workload is obviously here. But to put off that, saying, well, we'll just wait for the new board, that's not a service to the town. That's a service to yourselves trying to get out of something. I disagree with that totally. You have a job, you're committed to, you're sworn to until the end of your term. It doesn't matter if it ends tomorrow, you do that job tonight.
I happened to look on the Indeed website, and you're going to have an awful lot of competition hiring a new town clerk, because there are 15 postings in the state of Colorado for a clerk, and the word certified wasn't there. Now they have incredible descriptions or job descriptions, so the board might want to look at that, and it's really easy, Indeed.com, and put in town clerk, and but there's a lot of competition out there.
Okay. Any other comments then?
I think it's definitely a priority to advertise for a clerk position, because it could take some time. And I think, getting some more timely help for Renee in the interim would be very helpful for her. But I completely agree. There's nothing to stop us from searching.
Right.
And if something does happen to fall in our lap, then we should take advantage of that. Or if it takes a few months, then it takes a few months. But we do want to make sure we have a very well qualified, keeping mindful of any bonding or any certifications or what have you that are required. That could take some time to find. So that would be
Is that your motion?
I would make a motion to, I'd make a motion to direct Renee to begin advertising for a full-time clerk position, and also to advertise for a temporary part-time help for her office activities.
Second.
Is that a certified full-time clerk?
Yes.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion by the board? Any more discussion?
I just put it on my to-do list. I'll work with Renee to put together a job description, incorporating the qualities that it probably takes, that you've got a handle on things of what it takes to do this. Certified clerk will be a plus.
CML will have a good draft they'll send you.
Okay.
So that would be two things. One,
Part one.
both correct.
Yeah, let's do them both at the same time.
Okay.
Do we need to see that motion?
What kind of a timeline do we get temporary posted?
It would all depend on what kind of response we get.
No, I mean, just how fast can we get something posted? I'm just trying to be realistic.
Temporary.
Office.
I'd probably use an agent service.
A temporary agency.
Same one that we used last time, and hopefully the same person if they were available, because
They did a great job.
we were told, I was told it was worked out very well. Okay.
Let's get the hiring process.
Yeah.
Last time you searched, you didn't even put anything on the post office bulletin board. Maybe somebody local here that's not on these other lists that you're using. Okay.
Agreed.
Okay. Okay, yes, Mr. Bertrand.
You already have a part-time clerk. So I don't see the reason to advertise for another part-time clerk.
We're not talking.
You're just talking temporary?
Yeah.
That's correct. Just some assistance for Renee.
Yeah.
Unless we have volunteers in town come help. More volunteers.
Okay, so board, let's get back. We have a motion, trustee Flynn, we have a second. We're in discussion at this time. Okay, are there any other comments to discuss here with that? Okay, I will call for a vote at this time. All those in favor, vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, very Very good. Yay. Thank y'all, and thank you for your comments.
Just one last word. The reason I said post in the post office, there's tremendous talent in our citizens in this town. They're willing to help. The last time we had a full-time
Mr.
clerk,
Brown, thank you.
she had an assistant
We're moving on.
and
Mr. Brown.
a volunteer.
Mr. Bratton, thank you for
Okay.
your comments, but we're moving on. Okay, thank you. Okay, let's F, the 2015 audit quote.
So Renee put out a request to Josh and his firm, and he actually came back this afternoon with a response. Well, I'll
Do we
just
have
read it.
that? We don't have that?
No, he actually came back at 4:06 this afternoon, so. Thanks for the opportunity to provide a quote to the town for audit services again this year. As you're likely aware, in the prior year, the accounting records were not initially in a condition that allowed us to perform an audit, which resulted in significant delays and additional costs to the town and to us. We do not want to get into the same situation again. In the current year, we would normally expect an audit for the town to be $8,000 to $10,000. This assumes that the accounting records are in good condition. We received the customary level of support from management, and there are no delays in performing the audit. Because of the uncertainty of the condition of the town's accounting records, we are not able to provide a firm quote and would bill the town at our normal hourly rates. So Renee and I talked earlier, and she's going to reply roughly that to ask for a list of the records that he needs, so we can get an idea of what is needed to make sure everything's in good shape. And then with the assumption that he has good books to start with, and he would obviously have, what did he say, good management, good support from management, ask for a firm quote. So, because we need to get on the books sooner rather than later. So that's kind of what we were hoping to have a firm quote from them. But I also wanted to, once again, I'll give you my thoughts and ask you for input. We changed last year. We used the same company for many years. We changed last year, and hindsight being what it was, we may or may not have made a good decision for timing purposes to change. I don't think we would want to change. We've got somebody coming in that they ended their 2014, so we should have good 2015 starting numbers. We've got all that. I would think that we would stay with the same one, but wanted to find out from y'all before we went out looking for competitive bids, which I don't want to do that if we're not looking to change.
My experience is that typically the first year is an increased workload on the auditor, and then the subsequent years are a little less. They're more familiar with the books, but it is routine to be changing auditors every 3 or so years, just for consistently fresh set of eyes.
So in that case, we'll send Josh, look to get a firm quote.
I would think that $8,000 to $10,000 number is a firm quote.
And last year, the firm quote was $7,500, so I think it's still a little high.
What was the previous cost?
$11,000. That's off the top of my head. I think it was $11,000 for the year before.
13.
I think. So if I'm off, sorry.
And this past year?
It went up to what?
25,
Oh, geez.
23, something like that. Once again, off the top of my head. It was over 20.
It was.
So this is the auditor you want to stay with?
Yes. Yeah, so it was his first year with our town. His marriage first year. There was a lot of first in there, and
2014 was an extraordinary year financially.
Yeah.
Because we had the town hall, which is quite unique. So I think it was a little bit of a curveball because auditors who were looking at our previous audits, oftentimes you get a quote, they'll say, please send us back 3 years of audits. Always being consistent, and then 14 was dramatically different than the past 10 years.
And why was the auditor changed at that time? I mean, why didn't you go, why didn't the town continue with the same auditor that they've had in previous years?
Lower quote, and also the change, get a fresh set of eyes on it.
Sounds like the quote was good.
The quote was good.
I mean, it sounded good.
Yeah.
But it ended up being
Well,
quite a bit more.
in
And I'm not
fairness-
saying it was due to the auditor.
In fairness, I think more of the responsibility was us as a town and the preparation that we've had going into the audit than it was the auditor.
Okay. Okay, trustee Betts, thank you. So Renee, as this comes back, maybe this is on the agenda again, if you get tonight, quote or whatever,
Actually, I would, no, not.
okay, PC recommendations for approval by the Board of Trustees. There were 3 planning commission recommendations. The first 2 had to do with the fire department. And we do have Mr. Breton here from the planning commission, also Mr. Croman, and then we have Mr. Florence here representing the fire department. This is the exact motion. And Mr. Bowman, sorry, both of y'all. This is the exact motion. PC recommends that the board waive the requirement for a guaranteed bond required by section 17(3)(d)(1) and an escrow security deposit required by section 1795 of the Green Mountain Falls Land Use Code for the proposed project to construct a new fire department facility for the Green Mountain Falls Topeka Park Fire District, subject to review by the Attorney General. That's a lot. So, so a little, do you have anything to say, Mr. Ratton or Mr.
I
Lawrence?
think we ought to let Gary present.
Present this.
Well, I'm okay with that. I think it should be waived.
Right, you gave us a lot of rationale.
We did, we went into a great amount of detail. We're operating under your subdivision rules, but we're actually not creating a subdivision as such. We're taking the 5 point whatever acres that Joyland has and just dividing it into essentially a 4-acre parcel and a 1.6 acre parcel or so. So a lot of the subdivision doesn't apply. Also, as a government entity, the requirement for us to post a guarantee bond would be pretty onerous. We don't have that kind of money, obviously.
Board, do you have any questions for?
So the security deposit is for the land activity, or is it for the actual fire department facility?
It's for the actual facility.
Okay.
That's
So it's a
construction
construction
guarantee.
bond.
It's a construction guarantee.
Right.
The contractor starts, somebody has to make sure the building gets completed, so there's a posting, like a bond.
I got you. Well, my only question is, since this is Gmf Topeka Park Fire District, and it's just not the town, I don't know that that's a decision just this
Well,
board.
we're actually in the town. It's a town concern because we're subdividing in the town.
It's town
It doesn't
land.
have anything to do with the rest of the district. It's where we're putting our.
Well, I'm just asking, but if we waive this requirement, something happens, right? Is it, and this is all of these people who pay taxes towards this district, they are not just in this town. I'm just trying to clarify exactly what it is that's happening.
Yeah, we're trying to meet the town requirements.
Okay.
There are no, as far as the county goes, we would meet those requirements. But we're trying to meet the county, or the town requirements under section 17.
So it's more than the county?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The county will do all the inspections and everything on the building. That will all be done. Plus, we've hired an engineering firm, make sure it gets its engineering stamp and everything of that nature.
Okay.
And they're guiding us through this whole process. We've already started the process. And
I just didn't want to
costly already.
put other taxpayers in jeopardy that are not part of GMF is all I'm concerned with.
They would not be in jeopardy other than the financial things that we're gonna have to do later as far as financing things.
It's a development inside your town. Your rules apply. I will tell you that the senior partner would kill me if I said blanketly to go ahead and move forward 1 and 2. Those are put in place to protect the town. I'm hopeful there's some way that we can figure out an agreement to make it so that they don't have to go through that onerous process. But to blanketly waive them, I'm going to suggest that I would highly advise against that right now. Instead, I would suggest tabling it, and I'll look at other options to bring to you guys and let you know if there's a way that we can set this up. Because if you step back, and I'm not trying to say anything about the fire, but I will say that we have watched towns have developers come in, and this is a development, albeit for the good of the people, but we've watched developments come in, and we've watched the process work through, and I've seen these bonds and these sureties come to a very real need for the town. So to blanketly waive them right now is not something I would suggest.
When do you need a decision on it?
We've already started the process. We've hired an engineering firm. We've gone through quite a bit of pre-testing that needs to be done. We have to test for asbestos. We have to do surveys. We've already done those. We have to get testing utilities as far as electrical load, water load, and all that good stuff. We've also lined up the appraisal for the property. We discussed it with the homeowner, or with the owners of the property. The reason we're doing all of this, obviously, they didn't have the money to do it, so we've stepped in and helped them out by trying to get the process going.
But this decision on this bond, when, is that at construction? Or
Joyland.
when does that need to be determined?
Joyland would like us to make a commitment, which we really can't do until we know what's happening here. They're talking to us in terms of probably 3 or 4 months. They want a commitment, and that's my gut feel on this. I will say that, as I say, we don't have the money to put this up as a guarantee. And that can be a deal breaker for us.
So given that, I would direct, with the board's consent, I would direct the town attorney to contact the fire district and bring back to us at our next meeting some suggested agreeable alternatives for us.
I second that. Is there any more discussion? All those in favor, vote by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay,
Matt, you've got my card.
okay. So then this will be on the agenda then, please. February 16th. Okay. Yeah, February 16th. Okay, so that's 1 and 2.
Is that 1 and 2?
1 and 2, correct?
Wait a minute, we never discussed 2.
Well,
Same advice for 2.
yes.
Why?
Simply because that's another cost that the town will incur to do it. And if that's something that the town wants to do, that's something that they need to realize on the front half. They're gonna have to fund to move this project forward. We don't have an on-staffed engineer to review drawings. Again,
We do have a certified engineer. Once he stamps those things, that's his responsibility, not the town's responsibility. He takes the liability once he stamps those documents.
I guess then I'm confused as to why.
Well, number 2 says that the planning commission is recommending that we hire our own
Well,
engineer.
So that,
maybe,
right, so
if needed.
that, right, the conversation at the planning commission, Mr. Florence, you wanna?
Well, your town subdivision zoning, or whatever we call it, requires that that a certified engineer review the plans of a certified engineer.
Yes, that's correct.
And,
That's correct.
and that we would pay for that. So, our position is that there's a redundant amount of work in there, as Rich says. We have a certified engineer who will attest to the plans. And secondly, if we were to have to pay for another certified engineer to look at those plans and certify them, there's essentially a conflict of interest here because that person's being paid by us. And as the planning commission said, if needed, the qualifier. And our position is, since we have a certified engineer who is attesting to this, to the safety and everything else, it's a redundant requirement, and that maybe you need to relook at your zoning regulations.
I think number 2 goes with number 1. If there's going to be something new brought to the table, there's nothing to hire an engineer for right now.
Yeah, and that's what I was trying to say, is I wouldn't suggest blanketly just saying, yeah, go for it. So, understanding you guys have yours,
Right.
and that, you know, if the town wants to, again, if the town wants to look at saying, you know, well, we're gonna rely on yours, or we are gonna hire ours, you know, sometimes they do reimbursement, so that it eliminates that conflict of interest, is we're the actual client. You know, they're renewing your plans and you're reimbursing the town for things. So it's another added cost, and it's something that the board needs to know what their options are.
So again, so this will be, both 1 and 2 then will be on the agenda for discussion, February 16th. Mr. Patron, you had a question?
Yes, I did. The town's requirement is to have, is to hire an engineer, and to do the review, and then the applicant pays for that engineer. There is absolutely no reason that the town should foot the bill for any engineering, whatever. The townspeople are already paying taxes to the fire department to support the fire department. And it looks to me like they're gonna waive all the subdivision fees and any of the other fees. And I have no problem with that. But the town should be paying no money to anybody for any project. We're already subsidizing the fire department through the taxes that we pay the fire department and waiving the fees. So if there's engineering requirements, they should be subject to the fire department.
Okay, so Mr. Patron, Mr. Crowd is gonna take a look at this. This will be on the agenda for February 16th for discussion. Again, let's move on.
I just had one question.
Yes.
What would this engineer be reviewing? Just land use? Just the subdivision, because we don't do
No,
building.
he'll be doing building, he'll be doing everything.
I'm sorry.
He'll be doing the building, he'll be doing the grading, the utilities, he'll be doing the whole thing.
That's very cheap.
His engineering firm.
Well, okay, so the engineer that this recommendation, what would that engineer be looking at? Because the town doesn't have any purview on any of that stuff.
Yeah, but he's required by law in his certification to look at a lot of different things. He'll be ensuring that the county meets, all the county requirements are met. He'll be putting his stamp basically on any drawings for that building.
I'll
Which he'll be
I
certified.
understand where you're going. I'll look at that now.
All right.
And while I appreciate that you put all 3 of these, so I can be the bad guy 3 times in a row, although the senior partner killed me for the first 2, the taxpayer bill of rights prevents the 3rd. So you may increase lodging tax, but you may only do so by ordinance, which sets that matter to a election. So taxpayer bill of rights requires that any increase or new tax
That's not ours.
goes to, yeah, thanks for being the first 2, but the 3rd means, you know, the only way to increase or create a new tax, which an increase is considered creating a new tax, is to put it to a vote of the people. So, again, you can do that. It's my understanding, and I'm 99% sure you've missed the deadline to do that on this election. Something to look at going forward, but an ordinance to do that is going to be invalid. So.
It would be even year.
Yeah, I think it even has to be on the November election of an even year.
I don't think November.
Or
April,
It's-
it would be in April.
it's very, it's specific to that.
November 2016, would that be doable?
It's possible, but I don't know. It's worth looking at.
Yeah, you, mostly, you can't do that tonight. So,
I wrote that motion. The reason we broke it away from a whole slew of recommendations we're gonna give you on short-term rentals is because of the lead time it takes to get voter approval of an increase in tax. We wanted you to be aware that we're recommending this so you could initiate action to start the legislative process.
I think the first step is clearing with our town attorney that can advise as to whether November 2016 is an option for us.
No, we didn't envision that was an option.
Otherwise, it's April.
if it's not, I'll let you know what it is.
I mean, April would be fine.
Not this,
Of
it's
2018?
we can't do it this time. There's not enough time
Right,
to get it on the ballot.
okay, good,
So,
thank you.
Mr. Cobb, so you'll look at that then,
What's that?
okay. Okay, we added the appointments for the PPRTA and the PPACG. And currently, we have trustee Stevens serving, and then I am the alternate on those. And I would like to continue being an alternate as well, and you would like,
I would like to continue my service there too.
okay? So, I'll entertain a motion for the appointment of the do you say appointment, yeah, for the PPRTA and the PPACG to be trustee Mayor Pro Tem Stevens with alternate Lloyd Worthy.
Move to reaffirm.
Second.
Discussion? Okay, all those in favor, vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Very good.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for your work there, and all you do. And I want to start going to board meetings, so,
Please do.
yes. Item J, very important wage increase for our public works part-time. Guys, if we can move the conversations a little further outside.
Well, I think we should do that, because for the next one, I'd like to move into executive session pursuant to CRS 246402-4E, if that's just off the top of my head. For the purpose of determining the position relative to matters that may be subject to negotiations, developing a strategy for negotiations, and/or instructing negotiators.
So we're gonna do separate. Okay.
And I'd like to ask that the attorney and Mr. Cullen set. Get it all?
Okay, so that needs to be a vote. All those in favor, vote by saying aye. Aye. Okay, so we will ask y'all to please step out into the hallway area. We will reconvene shortly.
Record your executive session.
Yes.
Yes, we do.
So,
We don't record.
we do
No,
record.
You don't.
I don't,
You
we
don't.
do.
We do.